This week, we're going to spend some time examining opera during the Romantic era. This is actually going to lead us into the late Romantics with composers like Richard Wagner. Opera enjoyed a golden age during the first half of the 19th century. New opera houses opened up throughout Europe. Members of the aristocracy and middle class, they attended opera as a form of social status, and opera was both an elite entertainment and a popular diversion for all classes. We're going to look at three distinct locations for opera, and each one will have a specific contribution to the development of opera. Italy, France, and Germany. Now, Italy will focus on the development of beautiful melodic lines for the singing voice, while France and Germany will spend some more time emphasizing the development of the orchestra. With Italy, we have bel canto. France, we have the grand opera or opera comique, as well as ballet, their contribution to ballet to opera. And then in Germany, we have the Singspiel. We've talked about this in class before. It's similar to our modern day musicals. But ultimately, what we're going to be working towards with Germany is Wagner and his Gesamtkunstwerk. We'll look at three different composers, one for each location. In Italy, we have Rossini. France, Meyerbeer, and in Germany, Weber. We will spend a little more time with Rossini because he was considered the most famous composer in Europe in the 1820s, and he's primarily known for his operas. The popularity of his operas is partially due to his ability to blend aspects of opera buffa and opera seria. Two of his best-known operas, The Barber of Seville, which was his most successful work, and then William Tell, which was his last major opera. Rossini helped to establish bel canto, literally meaning beautifully singing. The term refers to lyrical lines, effortless vocal technique, and florid delivery. In bel canto, melody is the most important element. Now, some things I want you to listen for in Rossini's operatic style. Rossini was the master at composing the ultimate pop tune. Rossini combines tunefulness with snappy rhythms and very clear phrases. The sparse orchestration lightly supports the voice, but he adds the occasional solo for individual instruments in order to create color. A popular device was the Rossini crescendo, created by gradually getting louder and louder and louder as a single phrase was repeated. The aria that I want us to examine is Una voce poco fa from The Barber of Seville. In this scene, the character of Rosina sings of her love for the Count. This is what they referred to as a cavatina, or an entrance aria. But what we're going to hear at the beginning is an orchestral introduction. The orchestra performs many of the ideas that will be heard later on in the song. This is very similar to what we talked about before with the Concerto Grossi, where the orchestra will play many of the melodic ideas that the instrument will eventually play. Remember, we talked about Miss West, Miss Gus during student recitals performing for a minute, 2 minutes before the soloist actually comes in. And that's what we're going to hear at the beginning, an orchestra introduction that plays many of the melodies that will be sung later. Let's listen. Now, before she begins, the song that Rosina sings is actually divided into two different sections. There is the cantabile, and then there is the cabaletta. The cantabile opens with material that is very reminiscent of recitative, and it's meant to represent her tentativeness about how she feels regarding her love. We also have coloratura, where we have these florid, elaborate figurations that's meant to represent her passion. Let's listen. Wait, stop. Go back. Did you hear that? That is awesome. You may have noticed as you're following along with the score that she's not singing the melodic line exactly as it's written. This is very common for the performance practices of operatic singing within the Romantic era. The cantabile is followed by the cabaletta. This is the section that is a bit more embellished. It's more passionate and active. It also has the Rossini crescendo. Listen for it. It's that melodic idea that repeats and increases the excitement of the song. In France, opera remained the most prestigious musical genre. The level of spectacle in French Romantic opera is often referred to as grand opera. Grand opera particularly appealed to the middle class. In terms of spectacle, the visuals, they were just as important as the music. On stage, we would have machinery, very complex stage theatrics. Of course, they would have ballet. They would have large choruses, and often those choruses would be integrated into huge crowd scenes. So you have this big visual element along with the music that you listen to. The leading composer of grand opera was Giacomo Meyerbeer. And Meyerbeer established the genre of grand opera with two works, Robert the Devil and The Huguenots. Now, I've mentioned ballet a couple times. It's particularly important with French opera, and it's something that will be later integrated into Italian and German opera. Now, in Germany, we have the Singspiel. The interaction between music and literature was very strong in the German-speaking regions. The example mentioned in your text by Weber is The Magic Rifleman, one of my favorites. And this established German Romantic opera. It exemplifies many of the characteristics that we find with German opera, and some of these characteristics you will also see later when we look at the music of Richard Wagner.